Making friends as an adult is hard. It's hard for me. I think it's hard for other people. And I'm talking about real friends. Real friends. Not acquaintances, not people that you talk about the weather with. Like true friendship. In primary school, it's easy. You see somebody on the playground and you make a friend. In high school and college, it gets a little bit harder, but hey, alcohol. Then in your 30s, you get tired and jaded. Just think about when the doorbell used to ring when you were a kid. Now, when the doorbell rings, it looks more like this. Al, did you invite somebody over?
No.
What? Why wouldn't they text? Why wouldn't they just text, call, something? Shh, get down. Okay. I'm gonna crawl around. I'm gonna open the blinds. Why wouldn't they text us? And in our 40s.
Hey, I made friends with this great new couple.
Yay, plans with strangers. No, I can't stand it.
Come on, we used to be fun.
This is fun right now. You and me, this is fun. All right, you got me here. Here we are.
Thank you. Don't just sit there, okay?
Okay, I will.
Here, let me fix this.
Just kind of stop. I'm just gonna pretend. That's all we're gonna do. Hey! Let's rewind. When did friendship begin? According to Google, between the years of 1300 and 1600, men and women started discussing what friendship meant. So this idea of friendship, real friendship, it's not a new thing. And that led me to this book, The Club. This is the story of a group of extraordinary individuals, a constellation of talent in the 18th century London that was known simply as the Club.
This is said to be one of the first clubs in London.
Now check out this part. Above all, the club existed for conversation, not just small talk, but wide-ranging discussion on topics of all kind. I mean, before you even get into the book, this great, amazing historical book about these friends, it talked about the club. You had to be in good company, read, talk, laugh, drink, eat, argue until late into the night at the weekly meetings at Turk's Head Tavern. Unlike some other clubs, it had no premise of its own, but it met in an ordinary London pub. The thing about a gentleman's club in London in the 1700s is it can be an inclusive thing or an exclusive thing. You can turn that into a negative or you can turn that into a positive. But if we put those feelings aside, we're gonna say Samuel Johnson and James Boswell and friends developed something so powerful in that time that it shaped British culture. But I realize it's not the 1700s anymore, so let's fast forward. Do you feel like it is hard to make friends as an adult? Like new, meaningful relationships? At this age, to make meaningful friendships.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
Meaningful friendships, yes.
Because I'm now like stepping out of my comfort zone and trying to make new friends, to like have my own friends.
So it's very rare when you do meet somebody that like you just immediately click with.
It was important to me that if we were going to have a healthy, meaningful, fulfilling life here in this city, that we had to have a social network. Some people might not feel that. I think lots of people have different needs and tolerances for how many people they can have inside their circle. Do you need friends you can just catch up with, go have a coffee with, or do you need really, really close, deep relationships?
For me, it's like energy and interconnectedness with people is like what I thrive on. But like deep, meaningful relationships.
Like I can think of right now, like 3 people that in the last like 3 years I've made really deep, meaningful relationships that they're like one of my closest friends now. And normally, like, you know, that doesn't happen.
So how do you take it from a relationship in here of like treating someone and to like grabbing coffee or going out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just really open about like all the things that I like to do for fun. Like, for example, I've taken a lot of my patients to this place called Peru. It's a spa in Colombia.
Yeah, you told me about this. That's cool.
That place is amazing. So I'd be like, hey, I'm going on Thursday. What are you doing? You want to come?
Cool.
And sometimes people are like, yeah, sure, why not? Bathing culture, it's like part of, it's like in our DNA. Like humans bathe one another and spend time in hot springs and rivers for millions of years.
Yeah.
So like being in that kind of environment of like relaxation and in water, like you just bond.
Another way for privileged adults to bond is to go on a group trip to another country. So, Peru with 14 strangers. Here we come. It's bound to create connections if you travel to another country with people, right? Yes, we did create friendships. And here's when I realized it. 5 days into our 10-day trip, my camera broke. The screen was completely shattered, and so was I. We went to Peru to make videos, but we came out with real friends. The broken camera was my problem. If I was traveling alone, it really would have been only my problem. But everyone who we met in the past 5 days who were strangers previous to this tried to help us. They offered advice, ideas, and tons of I'm so sorries. There's this idea called the risk regulation theory. We decide how much we invest in a relationship based on how likely we are to get rejected. Is this person better than me? Are they interested in what I have to say? Instead of being behind my camera, I had to open up and talk to people. I also realized it was less risky because everyone was already so supportive about my broken camera. It broke down the risk in my head of being accepted. My unplanned vulnerability of a broken camera opened up an opportunity for more connection, traveling, and celebrating together.
And that brings us to here. And as you can see, the screen is totally jacked up.
Not to worry, when I was able to get back to a first world country, I could solve my first world problem. And just like that, it's not a good snap. Oh well, all that worrying about the camera for nothing. Now, back to the important things, friends and Peru. Bonds were forged quick in Peru because we put ourselves in difficult but rewarding situations. We were together for a 10-day amazing trip outside of our regular lives. It was not a luxury resort. We were thousands of feet above sea level, on long, windy roads, putting in miles on trails. While I was doing my best to move forward with no camera, my new friends, formerly strangers, started to capture video for me so I could continue to tell the story of Peru. Our trip led us to an amazing farm. A local Peruvian family cooked us lunch, and they used traditional cooking methods to make an amazing meal. They started filling their earth pot with hot lava rocks. These rocks must be able to withstand massive amounts of heat and not break. Next come the potatoes. We learned that Peru is home to over 4,000 species of potatoes. Then they layered in delicious trays, meats, vegetables, covered it with the tarp, dirt, and herbs. While the food was cooked, we were distracted with pottery. They pounded clay and then worked it into amazing shapes. Always fun to see an artist or a master craft person at work. After they finished up, we got to try our hand at designing some of our own work. Then it was time to eat. It was amazing to see the pachamanca process come together. As they uncovered the earth pot, the smells wafted through the air. Watching a process that has been passed down through generations was so special. Using a cooking method that does not require propane, fancy tools, or knobs and buttons was just epic. Bonding over food in the middle of the Sacred Valley in Peru is also special.
Then we drove another hour to the salt mines in the Sacred Valley, a special place that is owned and operated by over 600 local families. It was amazing to see the salt extraction process at work. You can see they set up dams so the water would pool in different places. Then they let the sun dry out the water, which created the salt. Then they come in and harvest the salt. You can see they have hundreds and hundreds of salt pools that they're working through. If eating together bonds you, then cooking your food and eating together takes it to a whole nother level. Our next stop was Cusco for a cooking class with Jesus. It was one of the many highlights of our trip. Over the course of 10 days, we shared meals, stories, and experiences together. A group of like-minded people dropped in another country with an amazing guide will definitely help you start to develop connections. I mean, check this out. The two people who led the trip wrote us a handwritten thank you note and sent us a picture of each of us. Morgan, one of the people on the trip, sent us a card and an amazing picture with some custom stickers. And we even visited one of the couples we met on the trip in their hometown in New York City.
I started this friendship video in Peru on a group trip with 20 strangers. I'm going to end it here in Medellin, Colombia, as I travel solo by myself. Been pickpocketed, got a couple tours in, so getting the true solo experience. What this has taught me and what research shows is you need a balance. You need a balance of connection, close friends. Some people need more than others, but there's that gray area that's always hard to find, and I think that's what keeps us searching. How many meaningful relationships do we need or want? The bottom line is research does show that people live longer if they have connections.
I learned a lot through making this video. I know I need to be more vulnerable. I need to invest in people who bring me joy, and I need to give without expecting anything in return.
Go out, explore, meet new people, find new friends. I think that will elevate your game of life. They say it helps you live longer, so it's important. Go do it.